Hello, everyone. Chris here, and I'm joined by AJ.
Hello there, AtheistJunior here, your friend and humble narrator.
And I never know how to pass things off to the friend, but yeah, this is a bit of an impromptu stream. AJ and I were talking on Discord, and he was joking about me doing reviews of another review of one of his debates because I had actually done a written
Right.
review of the debate on my website. If I can remember, I'll try to leave the link down below to that review. But I forget how it happened. I'm just like, we could just do a video on it, that'd be something. And he's like, okay, And so after I got done with work, I got home, set this stuff up, set a time, and we're here live doing this.
Yeah, this debate, I was pretty anxious about it leading up to it because I didn't prepare for it as much as I did like my embryology debate, which I consider to probably be my best debate. That one I had done a lot of research and I really rehearsed my intro a lot. But the debate went better than I expected it to, and I got some good feedback on it. I think that that's just because of the experience I have debating Kent. Yeah, so it went well. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great, man. Solid opening, and just you continued through, and Kent didn't get to you. There was no way I could tell you were nervous from the get-go. You were, as they say, a cool cucumber going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's go on and get video up. And we're gonna get going. AJ, of course, just tell me when to pause when you want to provide some commentary.
Sure.
Okay, AJ, let's give you your 10-minute opening statement, and I'll get your slides up here. You just let me know when you're ready, and the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Okay, so what is carbon dating? It is a form of radiometric dating. There's many forms, but carbon dating, the way it works is that living organisms constantly exchange carbon with their environment, like plants take in radioactive C14 from their photosynthesis process. Animals eat those plants, and then humans will eat plants or animals. So one way or another, we wind up with carbon-14 in our bodies. So living organisms constantly exchange carbon with their environment, maintaining a steady ratio of radioactive C14 to C12 that reflects the ratio in the atmosphere at that time. When the organism dies, it stops exchanging carbon and C14 begins to decay. By measuring the current C14 ratio and comparing it to modern levels, scientists can calculate how much has decayed and infer the time of death. So is carbon dating evidence for evolution? While carbon dating, while primarily used for dating relatively recent organic materials, about 50,000 years old maximum, indirectly supports evidence for evolution by helping establish the age of fossils and archaeological artifacts. So one way that it connects to evolution is establishing timeframes for fossils. Carbon dating allows scientists to determine the age of fossils or artifacts that contain organic material. This places them in a specific time within the Earth's history. Knowing the age of a fossil helps situate it within the broader evolutionary timeline, confirming the gradual development of life over millions of years. And carbon dating corroborates the fossil record. And the fossil record is a primary line of evidence for evolution, showing how species have changed and diversified over time. Carbon dating helps validate the age of more recent fossils, ensuring they align with the sequence predicted by evolutionary theory. And one notable example of this is a fossil dated using carbon dating is the Shanidar Neanderthal fossils found in Iraq in the Shanidar cave. And these remains belong to Neanderthals who lived tens of thousands of years ago, and they included bones and associated materials like charcoal from ancient fire pits. So
okay, pause it.
These are...
yeah, this is never responded to by Kent.
Yeah, he didn't touch on this once. Yeah, I'm going to need to look into this because I haven't done much research into carbon dating. Like, I like radioactive isotopes, but I've never just gone in depth with carbon dating, radiometric dating like that. And this one's definitely, like, I love these relatively more recent finds of stuff, like the cave paintings in France and stuff. Just little nuances like that of our relatively recent, but still prehistory, humanity, be it
Right.
Neanderthal, Homo sapien, what have you. That particular type of is it still anthropology at that point? I believe it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
The study of ancient apes, like fossilized ancient humans, is paleoanthropology, because you get into paleontology. But
Mm,
radiometric dating with carbon dating, you can date bones, but they have to still have some organic material left on them.
yeah.
It can't be completely fossilized, which is one of the dumbest things that Kent says in this debate, is that, oh, well, most fossils are marine fossils, so you can't use carbon dating. Well, you can't use it on fossils anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing that was killing me the entire debate is his obsession over it being fossils, as in pure, completely permineralized fossil structures where there's no organic material left. It's just basically a stone imprint. To be very crude about it, it's like, no, you still have to have the organic material that would be carbon bearing to do the measurements. So,
Yeah, and just carbon dating by itself, I think, shows that the Earth is much older than 6,000 years, and shows that humans evolved because
uh,
of these fossils, these bones.
absolutely. But of course, Kent's response is just going to be, well, how do you know the rates of decay are the same? How do you know the laws of physics were all the same? God could have done blah, 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 blah. Yet simultaneously, one of the creationist talking points, and of course, Kent uses it as the fine tuning argument, where if anything was changed even slightly, we wouldn't exist. So it's like, which is it?
Right. Well, the way I respond to the fine-tuning argument is that the Goldilocks zone for the planet Earth is actually quite wide.
hmm
And if the universe is fine-tuned, why is the rate of the universe's expansion increasing?
Because God said a thing and it happened. Harvard.
Alvin?
But yeah, seriously, the Goldilocks zone includes the orbits of Venus and Mars. So, that's a good region for liquid water to form on a planet, where Venus not a covered hell and Mars not a dead world, stripped of most of its atmosphere. It'd be a different story. But right, you ready to roll back to your awesome opening?
Yeah.
All right.
Not completely fossilized bones, but they still have some of their organic material left in them. That's why they're able to be carbon dated. Calibrating other dating methods. So while carbon dating is limited to recent samples, it is used alongside other radiometric dating methods like potassium argon for older materials. And these build a consistent timeline for the evolutionary process. And carbon dating isn't the sole evidence for evolution. It plays a crucial role in confirming the timing and sequence of events in the evolutionary history of life. And combined with other dating methods and lines of evidence, it strengthens the scientific understanding of how life has evolved over time.
That's something I want to point out, as I always bring up in my videos, is Kent's lack of nuance with everything. Everything's got to be, as you put it in our pre-talk, AJ, very black or white with him. And so he always wants that one, what's your three best pieces of evidences for evolution? Because he wants little individual snippets to try to knock down. Even though he's wrong, he can make a person look like he knows what he's talking about, and try to phrase it as evolution is this concept that's just hanging on by tiny little weak threads, rather than being this field of research that's just corroborated by so many different aspects. It's wild.
Well, it's easier to poke holes in your opponent's position than it is to defend your own position.
This is true, hence why he never defends what he says and will fight tooth and nail to not ever acknowledge a burden of proof on his part. Usually with the classic, I'm not trying to have it, taught at taxpayer expense.
Yeah.
Like that has any value to the truth or falsehood of an idea. It's insane.
Yeah, he does that in this debate quite a few times.
Oh yes, he does. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe not, because once we get to what he has to say, oh boy. Oh, let's continue.
So here we have a slide from Kent's seminar. It says the lower leg of the Fairbanks Creek mammoth had a radiocarbon age of 15,380 radiocarbon years, while its skin and flesh were 21,300 radiocarbon years. So this is saying that it's one mammoth. But if you check the actual source, the quaternary stratigraphic nomenclature in unglaciated central Alaska, professional paper, it shows that the two dates were two different animals that were tested 8 years apart. So the first mammoth was tested in 1940 and the second was 1948. Also, the bottom sample says hide soaked in glycerin by collector, date invalid. So I don't think that these were the same mammoth, but Kent has been presenting this slide for decades, and he's been told about this before, that this is likely not the same mammoth, but he continues to present this as if it's the same mammoth. I think this is a dishonest way of trying to debunk carbon dating. And we have another slide. Living mollusk shells were carbon dated as being 2,300 years old. So we never date living samples with radiometric dating. I think Kent knows this.
Yeah.
So I will give myself credit for saying the title of that paper correctly, but fuck if mollusk isn't a hard word to say.
It is mollusk. See, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Mollusks.
Mollusk shells.
It's like, oh god, mollusk shells. Oh god, yeah, that is hard. It's like mall and us with a K at the end, so mollusk. There's your language lesson for today. Mollusk. Let's continue. Actually, I do want to point out that you do bring up the fact that it's is specifically the radiocarbon years in the dating. It is interesting to note, and I'm gonna have trouble actually describing this, but just the fact that we're not when radiocarbon dating is done, it's a matter of a measurement based on that decay is the value that you're hunting for. Now one can extrapolate that means it should be around that same general age, but again, all you're really getting is here's how much carbon-14 has decayed, so that would be about this time span. That was the last time this thing had new carbon-14 brought into it.
Right.
So it's just a little nuance, but a lot of people don't think about things that way. That's why I bring it up, because science is a little. Sometimes you got to think in very odd ways about stuff that seems like it'd be so straightforward. Again, more nuance that Kent misses.
Right.
That why would you carbon date something that's still alive? That doesn't make any sense. But he has these slides that talk about dating living specimens, and if you look. Science, 1963, volume 141. That's the source from this slide. The name of this source is Radiocarbon Dating Fictitious Results with Mollusk Shells. So this was a paper that was done to show how dating marine animals that live in the water, doesn't work with carbon dating. It shows that modern mollusk shells from rivers can have anomalous radiocarbon ages owing mainly to incorporation of inactive C14 carbon from humus, probably through the food web, as well as the pathway of carbon dioxide from humus decay. And consequent errors of shell radiocarbon dates may be as large as several thousand years for river shells. So this is something that scientists in the lab doing carbon dating, they know about this. It's a known limitation of the method. But Kent is presenting this as if this is evidence that the method is just invalid outright. But scientists know about this. The people who do radiocarbon dating and these other dating methods, they know about the limitations. So if you use the method wrong, you're going to get a wrong result. It's like using a ruler to measure 15 miles. You're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to work, or it's going to give you a wrong result.
Now, AJ, did you see through the debate, the live chat on the side, when they weren't being rude as hell for no reason, the argument over measuring stuff?
Yeah, I want someone to explain to me how you can, because Kent said you can measure 15 miles with a ruler. I would love for him to show me how you can do that.
I mean, the only way I can think of, and this is because I'll use a dollar bill to measure things out sometimes in a rough estimate, because I know it's like about 6.5 inches.
Mhm.
You measure from one end, you put your finger down, then continue again. But again, it's a matter of an approximation. We want some sort of one and done affair that's not going to be some tedious measurement.
Right.
That's the logic you're going for, is like, and it's just like they want to take the analogy super literally. It really kills me, because it is a case of missing the point. And I hate claiming, somebody's just missing the point, because Ken will do that all the time. But sometimes an analogy only goes so far.
Yeah, I think maybe a better analogy that I used was trying to use a ruler to tell what the temperature is.
Yeah. Which, I hate to be that guy, but I mean, in theory, you can do that with a particular setup, but a ruler just setting by itself without something to measure that reacts to temperature, not going to happen.
Right.
So, the point
Well,
stands. See,
well,
that's the
if you have a metal ruler and it melts, you know that it's above, the temperature is above the melting point
If
of
you've got
metal.
a metal ruler and it melts, you better have left the area. I'm just saying, or you're going to turn into some carbon, and that's about it. But yes, your point stands.
Or if it's wood and it catches on fire.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't good. I should get out of this room. Oh, too late. I'm already engulfed in flames. Oh, man. I think this is the least profane stream I've ever had. So far, I don't even know if I've dropped anything bad. Oh, man. I just had to make point of that. Let's continue with this awesomeness.
That doesn't mean that the method itself is invalid. And here we have another slide. If C14 supports our theories, we put it in the main text. If it does not entirely contradict them, we put it in a footnote. And if it is completely out of date, we just drop it. So if you'll notice here, the source says that this is the Institute of Egyptology. And let's look at the full quote. C14 dating was being discussed at a symposium on the prehistory of the Nile Valley. A famous American colleague, Professor Brew, briefly summarized a common attitude among archaeologists towards it as follows. If a C14 date supports our theories, we put it in the main text. If it does not entirely contradict them, we put it in a footnote. And if it is completely out of date, we just drop it. Few archaeologists who have concerned themselves with absolute chronology are innocent of having sometimes applied this method. So this is specifically talking about how archaeologists use C14 dating. So when it says our theories, this isn't talking about the method as a whole or the evolution theory as a whole or the scientific method as a whole. This is just talking about archaeologists and the way that they date archaeological artifacts. And I think specifically talking about things from the Nile Valley in Egypt, because there are archaeological artifacts where they know the age of these things. So if they carbon date something that they find in Egypt and they get a much older date, then they know, like we know how old things from ancient Egypt are. They're going to know that there's probably likely contamination in that sample.
So, like, in that case, let's say they were hitting up a tomb that had never been opened, but they've got enough information of like, oh, this is, Emperor such and such is, well, King such and such is, what have you, tomb. And they were to get some artifacts out of there. They know they died in such and such based on what was kept in records.
Writing.
Exactly, writing. It's like, how do we keep records? Oh yeah, writing, papyrus.
I can't pronounce this word, but
hieroglyphics.
Yes.
Oh yes. They pull some sort of wooden object out of there, and they were the carbon dated. And let's say this guy, it was 5,000 years ago, and they get a carbon date of like 15,000. They're gonna kind of raise some questions, like I don't know, or vice versa. If it was way older and the thing measured way younger, it'd be like, hang on. That's what I'm interpreting it as in the way that the archaeologists would look at things, because it's like, okay, let's try to figure this out. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if they tried to carbon date any mummies, or if they had dated things from the pyramids or tombs. I'd imagine so.
I am very certain, because actually as a kid, it was big into ancient Egypt, and still kind of am. Comes in waves. And I believe that's where I first learned of the concept of carbon dating and the idea of carbon-14 isotope. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure they do. And if we were to look up some stuff, that might be an interesting little side project for us to
Well, if Deviant Outcast shows up in the chat, she would probably know.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, let's continue.
And how do we know the decay rates are constant? The laws of physics are consistent. Decay rates depend on fundamental physical constant, like the strength of the weak nuclear force, which governs radioactive decay. And these constants have been tested extensively. Cross-checking with other dating methods. Different radiometric dating methods like carbon-14, uranium, lead, and potassium argon often agree on the age of the same sample, so you can cross-confirm with other dating methods. Observations of ancient light and nuclear processes. So light from distant supernovae show the same spectral fingerprints of radioactive decay as observed in laboratories today. And these supernovae occurred millions to billions of years ago, providing evidence that the decay rates have not changed over time. And natural nuclear reactors. In places like the Oklo Natural Nuclear Reactor, uranium underwent sustained fission reactions about 2 billion years ago. The isotopic ratios in the surrounding rock match what would be expected if decay rates were the same then as now. So this is a natural nuclear reactor that's formed within the Earth. It's the only example of something like this that has ever been found. And in all of the tests that have been done, we've never seen a decay rate change in this natural reactor. If Kent thinks that the decay rates aren't consistent, I'd like him to provide an example of that happening or explain how that could happen. And laboratory tests under extreme conditions. Decay rates have been tested under extreme conditions such as high pressure, temperature, and electromagnetic fields. In nearly all cases, the rates remain unchanged with only extremely minor variations, far too small to affect dating methods.
I truly would love to see Kent actually try explicitly to explain how decay rates could possibly change.
Well, he kept conflating the decay of radioactive elements with the change in the rate of C14 in the atmosphere forming, which is not the same thing at all.
Yeah, he really had a hair up his ass about the how do you know how much was in the atmosphere?
Like I went out of my way to address all of his questions in my intro, but he keeps asking them anyway.
That's because his oh so lovely script demands him to, which is especially hilarious that... May I go off on a slight tangent, AJ?
Yes, I actually have to go get an Amazon package for my front door real quick, so I'll be right back.
All right. AJ received new goodies. Is it a new microphone? We'll find out. Yeah, little tirade I was going to go on is Kent is now mad that we all point out that he has a script, and he, Lupin, a bunch of others will claim people like AJ, people like me, or Professor Dave, or whomever are going on a script. The thing is, Ken Hovind's script is, we call it such because it's something he can't deviate from. He has to run that and that only, meaning he generally can't react to something that isn't intrinsically in the script. Whereas, as if we get far enough in this, you'll see AJ reacting to things Kent asks properly. Well, Kent will continue upon being asked the question to just go back to whatever his, again, pre-planned script says. It's the fact that he simply cannot interact in real time and actively discuss the subject that he has to just run this routine. Whereas anyone he's debating against can and will, as Austin Sims did, just go and they will cut into everything and actively change what they're saying when they need to.
Yep.
It's so obvious. And yet Kent just acts like he and his cohorts think they can just accuse someone else of running a script and that it's fine. And it's like, no, Kent, you're the one on record, and Conspiracy Cats made the whole damn song of, I'm not prepared for that.
Yeah. Kent is, he loves to project, and he was doing that to Grayson during his debate. He was like, oh, you're in a cult. Like, no. Try harder.
Yep. It'd be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. By the way, AJ, is that a new microphone?
No, I wish.
Oh, man. I was joking with everyone. I'm like, maybe AJ got a new microphone. If only. And if you'd like to support AJ getting a new microphone so he can give Ken Hovind the what for, you'll find him all on the interwebs and the YouTubes. And if you donate him your shekels, he will use them wisely.
Yeah, it's patreon.com/AtheistJunior is my Patreon. So
yeah, seriously, if you can support him, give it a go. But right, let's continue with this thorough thrashing. I'm surprised we made it 9 minutes through your intro already, because I figured we would have had a lot more just back and forth hilarity.
Well, we could probably skip Kent's intro, like, after all.
Okay, you do want to? That's cool. All right, but let's finish up yours because this is good stuff, and it definitely I want. As funny as it sounds, I want another copy of this out there on the internet just so there's another chance for people to see this because you feel like you didn't prepare well. I think this was beautifully done. Just beautifully done, man.
Thanks.
Let's continue.
And like I was talking about, the Oklo natural nuclear reactor is the only known natural nuclear reactor on Earth. The reactor is 1.7 billion years old, is operated for 150,000 years. Its decay rate has never been observed to change no matter how far back our measurements go.
And if I may make a joke, unlike those reactors built in the Soviet Union, it doesn't blow up.
Not yet.
Give it time. Oh, man. See, now I want to go on a Chernobyl rant. This was just my stream. I would, but this is a tag team with you, so we're moving forward. Y'all want my Chernobyl rants? Next time.
And how do you know the initial amount of C14 in a sample? You can cross-confirm it with tree rings, which is dendrochronology. Tree rings provide an annual record of carbon content stretching back thousands of years. Scientists measure the radioactive C14 in each ring to establish a precise historical baseline. Cross-referencing with ice cores and marine sediments and coral. And calibrating with known age artifacts. So like I was saying about the Egyptian artifacts, you can cross-confirm it with things where you know the date you already know what the date is. Radiocarbon dating has been tested on artifacts of known historical age, such as ancient Egyptian artifacts or materials from archaeological sites with documented ages. So
let's see him go try to carbon date the Noah's Ark on that mountain.
Yeah, the Noah's Ark that they're building, the waste of money.
Yeah, let's carbon date that, Kent. If Kent wants to waste his money on a little box, okay, let him do it. That's less money he has to, I don't know, do something with that. Abandoned joke. I had an idea there and I completely lost it. But I will say once again, shout out to Steve Lynn for stealing from DAL. That dude may be a piece of crap, but at least he stole money from Ken Hovind.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
C14 dating reliable. A 23-year-old record of the measuring accuracy of the Copenhagen Radiocarbon Dating Laboratory has been provided through a blind test, and a total of 92 samples of oak were dated in the period from 1971 to 1993. And basically, the investigation showed that there were no major variations from 1971 to 1993 in the tests that they did. And this is 92 samples. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that this is good evidence that the method is reliable. In laboratories among scientists, there is no debate that C14 is reliable. But what I aim to prove in this opening statement in this debate is that Kent has misrepresented C14 dating in an attempt to bolster his argument against evolution being true. So that's going to complete my opening statement.
So that last bit right there. So over a period of 22 years, particular oak sample that was known was blind sent to various labs, and all the labs came back with correlating ages.
Yeah, the error rate was less than 70 radiocarbon years.
Yeah, which is for half-lives that break the 5,500 year mark. That's pretty damn accurate.
And it was many samples of oak. It was more than one sample.
Ooh, okay. Well, I meant like different samples from the same source or different sources as well.
Well, it was done over a period of 20 years, so
okay. I just didn't know if they were, measuring off pieces of what was effectively the same tree.
Go back to that slide.
Sure, yeah. Measuring the accuracy of the Copenhagen.
92 samples.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that more because I think I get it, but I'm just, I'm always striving for accuracy in what I know and understand. I may not be able to reiterate it without being a rambling mess, but I like to understand things. Do have to ask one thing, AJ, and this was the only thing I had to say, like complaint in quotes I had on stuff. What was up with your camera? Was it just smudgy?
I think maybe the lens was a little bit dirty.
Yeah, because it's just like got a nice layer of Vaseline all over it. So my joke in the chat was it looked like AJ smoked a bowl beforehand. cloudy. And honestly, I'll
either that or my webcam software. It might have downgraded the resolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I can still make out the AJ sign and the Texas flag in the background. Shout out to the state of Texas. It's one of the states of all times. Much like Tennessee, definitely a state that exists.
Yeah.
But let's continue. Oh, and we can't forget Georgia.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's an important one to you. Let's so you wanted to go on and skip what 0645 2017 had to say, yeah?
Yeah, I think we might as well.
Yeah. And he takes the entire time to do his thing. Okay, so we're jumping. Yeah, that was 13 minutes that Kent spoke. That's going to be one of the things if I ever do debate Kent is that I'm going to want extremely short intros and point counterpoint just to get into the open discussion if I ever was to.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need to, like, Kent can seriously say everything he needs to say in 2 solid minutes.
Yeah, the open discussion is definitely the best part of any debate with Kent usually.
Oh yeah. But let's get to it. We're jumping ahead and seeing where how AJ counters the meandering mess that is Hovind.
Chem team of how to, we'll do that when I get more time, how to determine the age, a radiocarbon age. It's all based on obvious assumptions, which I'll be glad to share with you next time. Go ahead.
And and again, I know Kent's 70 plus, but just jumping from you and the smooth delivery you did to Kent's just jumbled mess of thoughts. I know we're right at the end of it. And again, I'm one to talk with the way I talk, the way I think about stuff, how I articulate myself, but he's just losing it. And this is where I'd say you could tell he was already flustered right after your opening. Like, you can just see the stress on his face. I mean, right now it looks like he's got to take a massive dump, and I'm sure he probably did.
Well, I'm not sure, but I wanted the slides that I showed in my intro. I wanted to undercut Kent's his intro because I'm not sure if he wanted to show those slides but didn't, because every time he talks about carbon dating, he always shows those slides. So I either stopped him from showing them, or because I don't think he wanted to have to present those after I basically debunked them. Because he admits that it is 2 mammoths, even though he's presented it as one for decades.
Yeah, I think he actively avoided them, because one of the things I noticed during this debate is that he did a lot more bouncing around in his slides rather than just going through them normally and running the script, which I think is also part of why he's, stammering at the end, because he had to jump stuff that he habitually needs to say.
Yeah.
And so, watching this again, it's like, man, you really got under his skin really quickly. So good job.
I'm not sure, but I feel like the way that Kent describes Geiger counters is not accurate.
No, his whole discussion, and that's not the only type of radiometric measurement device. That's a very specific one used in particular cases. I don't have I can't memorize all the facts to it for some reason. I always seem to forget this stuff, but it's like everything. There's a lot of complexity to it. The ways to measure particular alpha, beta, gamma rays and all that jazz. And I forget the exact decay process for carbon-14. But again, check Wikipedia. It's all there. Check Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia.
They say I spent time in prison. That's not true. You don't know that. It's like, yeah, we do. All right.
All right. Ken, thank you very much for that opening statement. Gentlemen, that concludes our opening statements for tonight's great carbon dating debate. Appreciate the work and visuals in those presentations. We've now got several points and arguments on the table related to the topic to engage in a rebuttal. So it is going to be a fast-paced rebuttal. We've got roughly 5 minutes each. And before I hand it to you, though, AJ, we've got a busy chat, and I see questions flying in, so I do appreciate it. I am mostly caught up, but keep sending those in, and we'll have some fun engaging those in the audience Q&A. AJ, whenever you're ready, I will reset the timer, and start it on your first word. Go ahead.
Okay. So as for the dichotomy between God creating the world, the earth, and the universe, or the earth making itself, I'd like for Kent to explain to me how something can make itself, because wouldn't it have to already exist in order to make itself? It doesn't really make sense to me. The idea of we're not actually here, again, I'd like Kent to disprove that. I'm curious as to why Kent thinks that I brought up the topic of carbon dating, or that carbon dating is cited by evolutionists because we need billions of years, when carbon dating only dates up to 50,000 years. So that doesn't really make sense.
Interrupting AJ, because I noticed our buddy Ambushed Apostate is backstage. Want to let him in?
Oh, sure.
And you're on.
What's up, fellas?
Hey,
I'm just enjoying the show. I'm glad I was able to catch it live.
All right.
AJ, I hadn't talked to you since, man, but excellent performance.
Oh, thank you.
All righty. We are going to continue.
As for things affecting the rate of C14 formation in the atmosphere, it's not really about the rate of C14 formation that matters. Like, I don't disagree that there are factors that change how fast or slow it forms in the atmosphere. What's important is how much is in a given sample when that sample dies. And Kent's saying that C14 levels have only been measured in the past 50 years. I don't think that's true. And again, we can look at dendrochronology, we can look at tree rings to see a past record of carbon content. As for the topic of contamination, my question to Kent would be, do you think scientists are not aware of this problem? Like, the people who do carbon dating, they're aware of these issues, like the risk of contamination and these assumptions that Kent talks about. I doubt that Kent is the only person who knows about these, and the scientists are just in the dark and are testing these samples without knowing that they might be contaminated, or that there are essentially some assumptions that might go into these dating methods. And again, I'd like Kent to address why he has slides that talk about a mammoth being dated when it was obviously 2 mammoths from the source, and why he has slides that talk about dating living organisms, like a living seal, a living mollusk, when from his own presentation, his own opening statement, he indicated that you only start to date something if it's been dead for...
Ooh, AJ, I know the answer to this one. Tell me if I'm right. It's because Kent Hovind is a dishonest fucking piece of shit?
Yeah, I think you're right.
There. I've fit the profanity quota. We're back to the levels it should be by this time. Dagnabbit.
a certain amount of time if it is dead. We never date living samples. And on the topic of diamonds and coal containing carbon dating, the presence of C14 in coal could be explained by the fact that, again, if you date something that's outside of the dating range of C14, you're likely going to get bad results. So coal is a fossil fuel, so it's far older than the effective dating range. So you can also, again, have things like contamination. Coal deposits are often associated with uranium and thorium-rich rocks, which can emit neutrons, and these neutrons can interact with the C12 in the coal to form C14. So this can introduce trace amounts. That's one possible explanation. Laboratory background noise from the dating instruments. Small amounts of C14 can happen from just the lab instruments themselves, and same thing with diamonds. Or just misinterpretation of the data itself. So coal and diamonds are much older than the dating range of C14. So if you're saying that using the method incorrectly is an indication of the method itself not working or being invalid, I would have to disagree with that. Yeah, that's that'll do it that's it for me. Donnie.
You know, Ken Hovind's the kind of guy who would use a shotgun to cut a 2x4. It's like Cotton Hill.
It's a 2x4 from Home Depot. Over.
Home Creepo? That's where I get all my supplies for my Noah's Ark.
Home Creepo.
Hey, one thing I wanted to say real quick, if you don't mind, is AJ's approach here is what I think just sets it apart from some of even the earlier debates. You asked him a very simple question, you asked him to explain it, and you left it at that. There was no attacking. It wasn't, his stance is he just, he attacks people. He gets off topic. You asked a very simple, direct question and then put the ball in his court to answer it, which he didn't. But that's what I'm saying. It was your approach to this was very simple, and it made him look, quite honestly, like an idiot. To be completely it was cringy, most of it, for his responses. So, that to me is what made this one kind of stand out.
Yeah, it was very repetitive. It got
Yeah.
very tedious. Hey, Chris, can you lower Ambush's volume a little bit? It's a little bit high.
Actually, this
No,
I'm sorry, guys. I'm on mobile.
It's okay. You can do that from StreamYard. And then
okay. Yeah,
so-
it is odd. Give me a mic check, Ambushed.
Yeah, how's that? Check 1 2.
I think that's better.
Okay, cool.
Still good, better. Okay, yeah. Just props to you, AJ, for keeping calm, not playing into his game and asking a simple question, expecting a simple, direct answer, which you're not going to get from Hovind. But we know this.
Yeah. He's slippery.
He's a greased up pig, Hovind.
Well, somebody left a comment, I think it was on this debate, that trying to pin Hovind down is like trying to catch a fish underwater with oiled up hands.
Good Lord. That's impossible.
Somehow I feel like Kent has tried that at some point in his life. Get some oil on my hands here and catch some fish.
That are kids trying to escape Dinosaur Adventureland because they're sick and tired of them.
Got the baby oil already and slippery and sliding all over the place down there.
I've got a gun that fires nets.
Ken Hovind been hanging out with the P. Diddy freak parties. Hovind.
Hey, but listen, guys, we're not a cult, okay? I swear, we're not a cult.
Totally not a cult.
Just because I have Viet Cong style traps for people trying to leave doesn't mean it's a cult.
I've got the complete works of Jim Jones in my office, and you have to come to my
David
sermons
Koresh.
every time or else.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just thought of
or
another.
else.
I just seriously thought of another comparison that's really screwed up. The fact that Jim Jones would record all his little speeches. They had that collection of tapes, and that's basically the same thing Kent does because every single sermon is recorded or broadcast. Oh God.
Yes, it is a very scary thing to think about when you look at it that way.
Ooh, yeah, and I like this legit just hit me. It's disturbing. Let's get back to happier stuff. AJ kicking Hovind's ass right here.
Thank you very much, AJ, for that 5-minute roughly rebuttal. We'll now hand it back to Kent. Kent.
AJ, is this the point where we're going to go on and let Kent ramble?
Yeah.
Okay. God, I keep on saying Kent instead of Kent. All right, everyone. We've had our fun moments of hearing just the awesomeness of AJ. Prepare to lose brain cells. So, if you tune away now, I will haunt you for the rest of your life. No, I'm being stupid. Let's do this.
Whenever you're ready, you also have a 5-minute rebuttal. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Let's see. Start. Okay. As far as the Earth making itself, do you know of another option? You claim to be an atheist. There's no God. So how did the Earth get here? It's here. Okay. We're sitting on it. How did it make it? Where did it come from?
Kent, in the grand scheme, that's completely fucking irrelevant. And this kills me when he does this. Because, AJ, didn't you address that at some point in this? Or who was I watching that addressed this at some point? Or was it just my own thoughts?
Well, Kent knows what my answer is. I think it formed from a planetesimal. What my question was, what do you mean the Earth formed itself? Because how can something form itself? Wouldn't it have to exist already to form itself? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right, yeah. The only thing that can make itself is the Incubus album of the name Make Yourself. That album is pretty damn smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like here's the thing is like, and this is a religious mindset, is this obsession with origins. Just, I mean, I get wondering, but in the grand scheme, it's not that important. And I think it was also you brought this up, like, or let's say the computer he's using. He doesn't need to know exactly where every single component was manufactured, who and how the individual, silicon chunks were mined to make the processor and the like. He just needs to know he can go to a store and buy the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like, why does this matter in the grand scale?
One of my favorite Incubus songs reminds me of Kent, and it's Megalomaniac. It's a good song.
Yeah, that is Kent Hovind to a T. Shout out to the band Incubus for providing some great music, especially around my high school years, because I'm old as fuck.
We don't, guys, we don't do that devil music down here at Dinosaur Adventureland. We don't do that demons.
Hold the wheel and drive and run someone over.
Oh, no. Straight to hell.
Oh, so that's what the song, follow. God, what's the one? What, something while I burst into flames. Pardon me. That's it. Pardon me.
That is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Pardon me, God.
That's what all you guys are going to do. One of these days, you're going to stand before God, burst into flames, Hovind.
Yeah, when you're in hell, you're all going to burst into flames, and your eyeballs are going to melt down into your own tongue.
Oh, dude, I get to be the guy from Indiana Jones. Kick ass.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, everyone to see a Nazi melt. Indiana Jones. That's for you, man. Fuck Nazis. Fuck Kent.
Kent hates video games,
Guys,
and they just released a really awesome Indiana Jones game.
Oh yeah, I've heard that there's good about that. Makes up for the terrible movie we got the other year.
The intro is a shot-for-shot remake of the Temple of Doom intro. It's pretty cool.
Cool. I'll have to check out like a Let's Play or something. Just relax and enjoy. All right, we've put off the inevitable. Time for 06/45/2017 to ramble.
I don't want to answer that, okay? And you said it only goes back 50,000 years. Kind of the points you made. Let's see. The two mammoths, I believe, that we mentioned in that one slide were from the same strata, which is the point you missed totally. If these two mammoths, even though they're dated 8 years apart, could be by different laboratories, if the mammoths are in the same strata, they should be giving the same age.
When you listen to them just in retrospect, when it's not live, even though they're dated 8 years apart.
Yeah.
What was the age range, AJ? Wasn't it like 70 years apart? Or am I getting something mixed up? No, that was the trees you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like 70,000, but Kent none of that matters because he's presenting it as it's one mammoth. So he just admitted that he's misrepresented this slide for decades.
Yeah, that is the key point to take away from this, is that's exactly what he did. He just
that's his only tactic, is he has to misrepresent because he doesn't have any valid arguments. So it's a necessity.
Now, I just want to point out, is intentional misrepresentation of information, would we call that a lie?
Absolutely.
If it's done with the intent of deceiving somebody, then I would say yes.
Okay. And so,
yeah, I mean, because if not, it would be an honest mistake, right?
Yeah,
that you would then correct if,
Yeah. Okay. And so, remind me again. I'm not the biggest theologian because I'm not a fan of fairy tales, but isn't lying supposed to be one of those magical crimes against God called sin?
Well, it's the ninth commandment.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. It's in the commandments, but these extreme groups like Kent's, they have this idea called theocratic warfare, where it's essentially you can lie, you can cheat, you can steal, you can do whatever you need to, as long as it furthers your goal for Jesus. In his case,
yeah. So the literal case of lying for Jesus is good.
No, it literally. It sounds like we're just being funny. No, it's an actual thing, and Kent has mastered it. I mean, he's done it for decades. He's taught a lot of other people how to do it too, unfortunately.
Okay. I was just making sure of that, just to, point it out. No particular reasons, just,
we have Simon Dan in the chat again.
But Dan's here. Oh, snap.
Oh, man. Shouts out to Simon and Dan. What a legend.
What's up?
Legendary.
Yo, Dan, you really should hit up AJ. You know, he's a little jealous because you show up in my stuff, but not his. Oh man, shout out to Dan. You rock. Oh, so happy to have you here.
Shout out to the final, what's it called? The final challenge.
Oh yeah, the final experiment.
Final experiment.
AJ, take a screenshot of this now. Simon Dan, I like AJ.
Oh wow, I'm honored.
Hey, real quick, while he's here, people like Simon and Dan are the reason that I no longer believe like Kent. Because literally growing up, we had the seminars and that was my life. So people like his channel have actually impacted me in a positive way. So that's all I'm going to say about it. No more fanboying for me, but Simon and Dan, your content changes lives and I appreciate you, dude.
Wait, put it back on the screen real quick.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I like AJ.
Let's keep going.
All right, I'm just going to leave that up for a while.
I think they all died in the flood is what happened to them. Let me explain. Before the flood came, this time back here, the Earth had a canopy overhead, preventing almost all C14 from even forming.
Oh God, the Hovind theory.
That's imagination.
That ain't in the Bible anywhere, buddy. He just takes the firmament and just extrapolates it.
And he doesn't even try to hide it. He calls it the Hovind theory because he knows it's not biblical. It's just he's just pulled it out of his butt over the years, and this is what we've got. The Hovind theory.
Magnum opus, the Hovind theory. And because he's not a flat earther, because he can't believe in the typical pizza world.
Is that not bizarre to you guys, honestly, that he is not, out of all the crazy stuff? I'm shocked, to be honest, that he is not totally flat earth.
You know, him growing up when he did, he was probably as enamored with the space program of the early 60s through to the early 70s as I am to this day.
Oh, sure.
So it's probably such a core thing for him that he could not possibly accept the idea that the Bible itself would say that the planet's flat. And
wait. Are you saying that Ken is incredulous? Come on.
I'm honestly giving him that. I'm honestly.
You mean to tell me he can't change his mind even if he has good evidence in front of him? Get out of here.
One case, he applied proper sense and logic because he experienced it firsthand.
It is true. I think, he uses an example all the time. The space shuttle. He talks about NASA and what they can see and how much.
I mean, you're probably regularly shit about the space shuttle.
I don't know. I know Dan has done a lot of videos about Kent, and what I love is that Kent accuses me of, you're riding my coattails for views, but Dan doesn't even put Kent's name in the title of his videos, and they still do like 90,000 views in the first day or two.
He doesn't even say his name. Creationist clown.
Yeah, I would love to see him talk about the ice canopy because. Kent is saying that this is a globe or a sphere of ice that surrounds the Earth that's 3 fingers thick, and it's like there's no way that something that's that thin would be able to maintain its shape without cracking.
It's totally insane. The whole thing from top to bottom is just delusion.
Yeah.
All right,
is that not everything with Kent though? That's delusion, but
yeah, it is. It's why these videos can be 3 days long. Sometimes you just gotta accept it and go to the next insane thing he says.
Yeah, but this is the Hovind theory though, so this is his baby.
I hope he writes a big book about it.
Yeah,
if he hasn't already. All right, let's continue.
So the animals had a very small amount. Let's say it's 4 clicks per minute, CPM, okay? We dig them up 4,368 years later and carbon date them. They've gone through 0.76 half-lives, so they should give 24 clicks per minute if you start with 32. The illustration I give, 32 to 16 to 8 to 4 to 2 to 1. Half disappears every 5,700 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Hovind is apparently a nuclear scientist. Also, that's not totally how half-lives work when you reach the tail end of decay chains. They're not decay chains, but, decay chains and just quantities. You never really lose all of it because that's how division works, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know much about Geiger counters, but they seem to click a lot more than what Kent talks about. Like
Yeah, Kent's also thinking that you can just like, just set it to, oh, I want to measure carbon-14 radiation, and it just is going to wait for an exact, carbon-14 emission, and it's like, no, dude, it's
Like-
going to be picking up all the particles of the particular way the radiometric measurement device is calibrated.
I was under the impression that a Geiger counter is just something that's to detect radiation for your own safety.
Generally, yeah. I mean, you'll get rates, but I mean, it's not totally. I think it's mainly alpha and beta that the proper Geiger counters measure. I'm not 100%, but yeah,
Like
I mean,
ionizing radiation.
Yeah, well, just those particular types, because the big one's the gamma.
Yeah.
That's
made the
the
Hulk.
neutron. Yeah, you got the helium nuclei, you got the electrons, and then you got the whole dang neutron hitting you, and that's the stuff that'll kill you real
Scramble
quick.
your DNA.
Yeah, it'll erase your code, Hovind. But damn it, I lost my train of
It's
thought.
funny. Kent literally thinks when you get saved that you get a new genetic code.
Really?
Yeah.
What a fucking nut job.
hmm
Then he
Yeah,
cries,
it legit. Yeah, you're literally a new creation.
of course, he also thinks that vaccines like the Rona vaccine will mess with your DNAs. So that
Yeah,
doesn't
turn you into a magnet. You can stick spoons to your nose and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yep. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Yeah. Well, let's try and power through this because I want to get to the open discussion part.
Sure.
So they should give 24 clicks per minute based on today's 32 clicks per minute. If today's atmosphere gives 32 clicks per minute, these should give 24, but they actually give 3. So we're going to use today's ruler to measure these things and find out, wow, they're 14,000 years on the calibration curve because they're only getting 3 clicks per minute. That's because they started with 4. They didn't start with 32. They had a lower number to start with. The Bible says the scoffers are willingly ignorant of that flood and how the earth was created in the water and out of the water. The canopy overhead would prevent most C14 from forming. So people sit around college classrooms and scoff at the old Bible, the goat herder's manual, because they're smart and they know the earth is older than 6,000 because of carbon dating.
And yet, Kent's little friend, Matty Powell, did that video where he went around college campuses and then ran across some little group that was all hyper Christian and stuff. So it's like, no, Kent, I think it's a healthy mix that probably matches within some reason the demographics of the area, with a slight lean towards probably less theistic people just by the nature of more intelligent people generally being less religious.
Yeah.
I digress. Just had to point that in because that's, a video I covered. Check my YouTube channel for that video.
They're willingly ignorant of how God made the heavens and the earth. They don't understand. To use any radiometric.
And AJ, what the hell is this image? Is this an egg, like a cell splitting?
I don't know. I think this is supposed to be the ice canopy, but why is it not a perfect sphere?
Yeah, it's diploid. It's the only word I can use, and it looks like a fish egg in the middle. Except,
Right.
but it's an eye.
Well, it's supposed to be like the core of the earth, I guess.
Why is the core exposed? You never have an exposed core.
And why did the continents look so wrong?
Well, sure, this is before the flood, when all the continents were all gangbanging each other, and the Garden of Eden was right there at Lenox, Alabama. Hovind.
I guess so.
Oh, that's something I'm gonna do. Soon is I'm gonna do satellite views of DAL and just kind of go over and point out what I can tell from it. Not like Grayson hadn't been there and stuff, and not like we can't see it, but to show what it's really like when you look at the grand scale of the 160 acres he's playing around with. It's pretty pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Metric dating method, any of them. You have to assume you know how much was in it when it died. You're taking the amount that's in an object today when it dies, 0.0000765%, and assuming the atmosphere's always had that. There is no possible way to know that thing, okay? Secondly, they assume the decay rate has never changed, and you admitted there's things that can change the decay rate, and there's been no contamination. You admitted there can be contamination. There can be contamination from the instruments they're working with right there. There can be contamination from the stars producing more while they're working on it, radiation coming in. There's no way you could prove any of those items. Coal seams are formed from the consolidation of ancient plant material over millions of years. Okay, plant is buried rapidly, and let's see, the weight of the overlying sediment compresses the material and turns it into coal. Let's see, what else did I want to? I want to get to another point here before I run out.
He just skims over that so pathetically.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Hovind for you.
At a time, I go through, and if you can't date a living object, something is seriously wrong. Your thinking process is certainly wrong. You should be able to take anything containing carbon and date it. If you took a leaf off of a tree and carbon dated it, it should equal the number they're using for the amount in the atmosphere, because it's still breathing that atmosphere. You should be able to date any living object. You're trying to give an excuse for why it doesn't work. Here we go, slide number 128068. Let me get that one here. 1268. Okay. The troubles of radiocarbon dating are undeniably deep and serious. Despite 35 years of technological refinement and better understanding, the underlying assumptions have been strongly challenged, and warnings are out that radiocarbon dating may soon find itself in a crisis situation. Continuing use of the method depends on a fix-it-as-we-go approach. Make an excuse for this one, excuse for that one, like you did tonight. Allowing for contamination here, fractionation there, and a calibration whenever possible. It should be no surprise that fully half the dates are rejected. So they carbon date something and say that can't be right, throw it out, date it again. Why would you reject any of the dates? The wonder, surely, is that the remaining half should be accepted. No matter how useful it is, radiocarbon method is still not capable of yielding accurate and reliable results. There are gross discrepancies. Chronology is uneven and relative, and the accepted dates are selected dates. This whole blessed thing is nothing but 13th century alchemy. It all depends upon which funny paper you read. I agree. Like I said, shells from living snails carbon dated 27,000 years old. It should give the same date, AJ. Don't make an excuse for it. 11 human skeletons, earliest known remains in the Western Hemisphere, dated by accelerated mass spectrometer. All 11 dated 5,000 years or less. Well, what happened here? And the two Colorado Creek mammoths.
10 seconds.
Okay. They were, I think, in the same strata is the point, okay? Side by side. So I go through this in my seminar, part 6. The whole purpose of this debate is for AJ
that's a totally different slide that he's showing.
Yeah.
On that slide, it was 2 different mammoths. On the other one I was showing, it said it was talking about 1 mammoth. So this is a totally different slide. So this is super dishonest.
Yeah. Like he's got multiple versions of his slide sets.
Well, it's a different source. Like these dates are real, but in this source, it's the same source, I believe, but it's a different section. So the dates are real, but he's misrepresenting it, trying to act like these are the same. Like they're referencing the same thing. These are 2 totally different parts of the source.
Gotcha. Still typical Kent Hovind.
Well, and keep in mind too, a normal response is, "Oh, wait a minute, my information's mixed up. We're talking about 2 different things here. Let's get on the same page so that we have an honest discussion." That's not what you get from Kent. It's intentionally switching the slides or intentionally leaving some information out to misrepresent. So again, it's a very clear difference between a normal, honest conversation and what you get with him.
Yeah, I've never seen this man involved in any kind of honest discussion with anybody ever. It's crazy. Of course, I'm talking about Kent, not AJ. I mean, look at AJ's face. Can you not trust this man? Seriously. Compare him to Kent. Okay, AJ's cuddly. AJ looks like a cool dude to hang out with. AJ looks like he's got it going on, knows what's up. Kent is a Hawaiian shirt-wearing nut job who's got conspiracy theory slides and books about animal sex in his freaking church.
Barnacle penis, Hovind.
So that slide is talking about the Colorado Creek mammoths, and it's from 1992. The slide I showed is the Fairbanks Creek mammoth, and the source is 1949. So
these are 2 very different sets,
different location, different source. So and And the first slide, it says mammoth, and this one is clearly talking about 2 mammoths. So yeah.
Yeah.
Rescue time for his monkey to turn to a human. That's the whole purpose of all this. Go ahead.
Just got to point out again, Kent's natural. He's got to go back to the key points of his script, which include, dumbing everything the opposition believes into the most ridiculous thing, the caricature of itself. You can't even call it a straw man because it's not that well built. It's a dang kid's cartoon crayon drawing of what the idea actually is. Got to make it look ridiculous. There, I ended my stuff. Haha, point for me.
I win.
All right. Thank you very much, Kent, for that rebuttal. Gentlemen, that is our openings and rebuttals. We're now moving into a discussion. We'll make sure the discussion is more free-flowing and organic rather than a real strict cross-exam. Kent just ended with his rebuttal. Therefore, Atheist Junior, let's give you the opportunity to pick the first point or topic to go back and forth on in our discussion. Go ahead.
Okay. So no, it doesn't make any sense to date something that's still living because, like you said, it would still be intaking carbon. It would still be eating plants that contain C14. So the way that carbon dating is used is that an animal dies and then the C14 starts to decay. So if none of it has decayed, why would you even want to date something that's still alive to see how long it's been dead for?
You're completely missing the point deliberately, AJ. If you date something that's still alive, it should give you the same number you're using for your ruler to date anything else. The ruler they use, the amount they use, 0.000765%, should be found in living plants and animals. You're not actually dating it, you're checking the ruler to see if it works, and it doesn't work. Slide number 1182, okay?
That's not how they use the method, though. So
Is it know anyone else that Kent has to think out loud in the particular way he does?
Yeah.
Slide number 182. Okay, I mean, I'm guilty of doing that. I'll think out loud regularly, but I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's Kent.
Can you not control it in the middle of a debate that's live to the internet?
That's where I'm going. It's just like you can't just like if you're just working on a
basic
project,
self-control. Yeah.
If he's working on a project, it's like which one's like, oh, slide, okay, but during this, he's just like, you don't have to say it, just go to the slide, bro.
Kent has no self-awareness.
Yeah, zero.
Oh, zero. Absolutely none.
Kent is the type of person who would answer a phone call during a movie in a movie theater.
And then get mad at everyone for telling him to be quiet.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
when I'm in the movie theater, I get self-conscious that people can hear my candy crinkling.
Seriously. It's like
I actually do that too.
No, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I just want to blend in.
Yeah, it's just normal behavior is what it is. I mean, honestly, being considerate of others, which again, Kent has had a hard time figuring out.
This movie sucks. Oh,
we good?
Did we lose Chris?
God damn it! Every time I do that thing where I accidentally mute when I shouldn't. No, I was gonna say this would be the man to watch Congo and leave because it's got the apes being smart. He'd be all pissed and he missed the part with the laser guns. Oh yeah, he probably like that.
Planet of the Apes movie is all about evolution.
Oh man, I have never watched the rest of the Planet of the Apes series. I've only seen the first one.
The new series?
No, the original.
The new ones are pretty good.
I've watched at least one of them. I probably the first one of the new ones. I need to do the rest as well, but list of movies I need to watch is a mile long.
I like Andy Serkis. He's a great mocap actor.
Yeah, he is. Who's not a great mocap actor? Hovind. But let's continue. Oh yeah, I forgot we're at the good part where AJ's about to rip into him some more. I like this AJ guy. You should listen to him. And if you're somehow not subscribed to him but subscribed to me, you should go subscribe to AJ because one, that man fucking inspired this. My channel would exist without him, but I wouldn't be doing this content without AJ. Seriously. So again, I know I say it's a lot, man, but I do want to thank you for inspiring me to just go at this.
Well, people like Aaron Ra and Simon Dan, they inspired me, and Thunderfoot and a couple others. People make good videos about science, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to pass that inspiration on.
Oh yeah. We're just we're continuing the one could say continuing the legacy, which I know sounds so pompous for it, but you know it's
No, we're building a community and adding to the voices. I think it's awesome, dude.
that's a really good phrasing for it. But it's not a cult.
We actually are not a cult, believe it or not. You can
Yeah.
come and go as you please, and we won't ruin your life if you leave. So,
Yeah.
you know.
You just disappear. You leave the Discord. Okay, cool. You unsub from my channel. Oh well, sorry to see you go. You know, catch you
Best
later,
of
buddy.
wishes to you.
Yeah.
I think with the level of scientific literacy in the Western world, I think we need as many voices as we can saying that, hey, the scientific consensus can be trusted, and don't believe this misinformation.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. The death toll
Right.
from COVID-19 is proof of
And
that.
and I think that the more people who are open like that and are like, go check out, these other people. Don't just, focus on what I'm telling you, nothing else, controlling the information. We're passing channels on as fast as we come across them because we're wanting to spread that,
Yeah.
as well as creating content. So totally different scenario, but it's an amazing thing to me.
Yeah. And if Aaron Ra wants to devote, 45 solid minutes to tearing apart 10 seconds of what Kent says and going through amazingly in-depth analysis of, of evolutionary history, of
Surgical.
geological history, surgical precision of these things, hell yeah. And if AJ, or thus me by inspiration, want to mock this clown as well as provide what we know when we can, or if you're as brave as AJ, go and actually debate this fool. I say brave as in bothering to even talk to him, being that public, that out there, then hell yeah. Otherwise, my goal just to provide some comedy for you, because I'm a total idiot.
We love you though. That's why we're here.
Yeah, let me tell you, people want to talk about the atheist community being on. I'm an atheist for solid hardcore atheist for over 10 years now. People want to talk about atheists being so horrible, so evil, and it's like, no, this has all been the nicest people I've ever met. So what does that tell you? Let's continue this, because this is where things get good.
It's not it's not a valid criticism.
Okay, you're completely missing the point deliberately. If Earth's atmosphere today is 0.0000765%, which I agree it probably is, then the snail should have had that amount in his body. He didn't. Any living creature, you should carbon date yourself, and you would find 0.00765%, or else your ruler's broken. And that's what you don't want to admit.
You're using the ruler to try and measure 15 miles. You're using the method incorrectly. And like I showed, that paper from your own source showed the name of the paper was Fictitious Results with Mollusk Shells. And I assume it's the same with the snail. It's talking about how marine organisms can't be carbon dated either because of the way that carbon-14 is absorbed by marine organisms. So it's not used on living organisms and it's not used on marine organisms. But your criticism of C14 is saying it doesn't work because you can't date living organisms or living or mollusk shells. That's not how the method is used. So it's a dishonest way of trying to say that the method doesn't work then.
Okay, now you just admitted it doesn't work on living things. It doesn't work on marine creatures, which is the vast majority of the fossils, okay? I don't know what percentage of the fossils found are marine organisms, but it's way over 50%.
Do we point out here that Kent is constantly bringing up fossils? Because we mentioned that in the beginning, AJ.
There is no fossil record.
Oh, no, AJ, I think your mic's doing that thing again. No.
Yep.
AJ's gone digital chipmunk.
It has had a conniption, folks.
Seriously, people, this is why we need your help. To get AJ a microphone that doesn't betray him every single live stream.
Sorry.
For your donation. You're good, man. For your
Take
donation.
Go ahead, AJ.
So Kent is talking about marine fossils here, and it's true that there are a lot of fossils from the ocean because the Earth is 3/4 of it is covered with water. But
carbon dating is used on things that still have organic material left in them, like bones, not fossils that are completely permineralized or like imprint fossils.
Yeah.
So it's a totally, I don't know if it's a straw man or just Kent misunderstanding.
Well,
I think this
like,
is Kent just having fossils on the brain personally, as I mentioned with his whole script
I think
issue.
I think his
well,
brain.
but see, the thing about it is, this stuff has been explained to Kent by very reputable people, knowledgeable people, with evidence for decades. He knows this stuff exists. He chooses not to accept it and to just continue to act like it doesn't.
Oh, certainly.
That's the issue here. It's not that he doesn't know these things. He's been told probably by AJ multiple times about some of this stuff alone. So, and we all know that Kent's had 747,000 debates, won them all, Hovind. Anyway, that's my take. That's my take on his misunderstanding. I think he knows good and well what he's doing, and he just decides to ignore reality.
I think at this stage he just cares so little that he's going to immediately say fossils that it's sort of a buzzword, an instinctive, automatic thing to him because of the way he runs his script. Not saying that he doesn't say it, say fossils all the time because of that particular deception and the like that you state. That he knows what he's saying doesn't matter. He doesn't care what he says in this case, though. So he's going to say fossil.
That is true, and another reason is the people that are with him at DAL, his followers on the internet, they will never question anything that comes out of his mouth. So he doesn't have to worry about being correct for the people around him or the people watching him who support him. So who cares if he's right? Because his people still support him, still believe him. You know what I mean?
That's what annoys me about him asking people in the room, is this a cult? It's like, do you think if the person thought it was a cult, first off, that they would be there, and second, that they would contradict you to your face on camera?
Absolutely not. Take it from someone who left a Christian nationalist cult. You would not say that at all. Your answer would be, are you kidding me? A cult? We're the last thing from that. And maybe if you know it, even because I got to a point where I sort of knew and I'm like, yeah, okay, but I'm definitely not saying it. So there's fear there, but there's also just this years, these decades long of control for some of these people. They don't care. Kent said it. He's a doctor. And that's all we need to know. So it's wild, dude.
Very.
Of all the fossils found in the world. So if it doesn't work on those two, how do you know it works on the other ones? What gives you reason to believe it should work on something alive? Why wouldn't it?
No, because it's still alive, Kent. The way the method is, because you can cross-confirm it with other dating methods like tree rings and other radiometric dating methods. They match up with the dates, and it's not used to date fossils. It can be used to date bones that still have organic matter in them, but if something's completely fossilized, it's not used on those. So it has a pretty limited range of uses, I'll admit it. And again, I never said that decay rates of radioactive elements can change. So you're misrepresenting me there. I said that the rate of C14 forming can change.
Oh yeah, is that lovely part?
Oh,
no, it's like, without you having to go into massive detail on every single aspect of this, which again, the Wikipedia article would explain pretty well. It's like you're not just measuring raw quantities of this stuff. It's a matter of relative values of the isotope versus, standard carbon in that particular sample set. It's complicated, but they know this stuff. It's, as you said, the scientists are aware of these various problems. Regardless, you wouldn't measure something live because there hasn't been time for any value to decay to a measurable amount versus background or versus baseline. Am I right, AJ?
Yeah. The way the method is used, like I said, is that you're measuring the ratio of the C14 to C12, and some of it has to decay for there to be any ratio to compare. So, like I said, I mean, that's probably my favorite quote from the debate is, why would it not work on something that's still alive? Because it's still alive. And I asked Kent, why would you want to date something that's still alive? And he said, because I just want to.
That's the dumbest reason.
I mean, don't you have to pretty much destroy a sample when you carbon date it? Like, I could be wrong on that. but-
I think so.
so
Not
like,
sure. Like seriously, you know, and all of you out there, yeah, definitely look up details on carbon dating because I think that's what I might spend the rest of my night doing outside of playing Guild Wars.
Aaron Rod did a video recently with this person I know, Age of Rocks, and he was doing carbon dating live in the laboratory and showing the dates that he got
Ooh, okay.
on a live stream. It was pretty cool. So
I think I had listened to that, but wasn't able to watch it. It was one of those cases where before work started, I was listening to stuff while we were getting things. Well, before work opened, I should say. You know, when we can actually have earbuds in, and you know, we're supposed to anyway. Anyway, enough about my work life. Let's continue.
you're fired.
By the radiation from the sun, by radiation.
I was fired by the radiation from the sun. Yes. Radiation from sun, Hovind. Noah's Ark, Hovind.
I like the glitching Hovind.
It's funny this always happens when this man is probably trying to make the best point of his life or thinks he's making the best point of his life. And I always like to joke that's clearly God telling him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He didn't just drop the connection because he wanted me to continue to make a fool of myself. But he made his point known to everyone but me. Hovind.
From stars.
If I could stop you, Kent, you roboted out as in like your connection for probably about 5 seconds. Can you rewind a bit and then just reiterate the points you were making?
What's up on my slides there? Is that me? Oh, something else up there. I said we know that it does not work on marine organisms, which is way over half the fossils found in the world. We know what you're saying. You know it doesn't work on living things. It should work on living things. It should work on anything. If you have to select which ruler you're going to use to measure these things, you could measure a mile with a 1-foot ruler. Your accuracy might be might be quite not as accurate, but you're completely missing the point. A living organism should have what they say is in the atmosphere today. This is the ruler they're using. They're saying the atmosphere today has a certain amount of C14. I agree. Well, then the things alive should have that amount, or something isn't right. Can't you see that, AJ? Why can't you see it?
Why would you use a ruler to measure a mile, though? That doesn't really, it's not logical.
You're missing the point. Why wouldn't it work on a living object? Tell me, would you say the living object should have the same amount of C14 as is in the atmosphere? And when they die, it starts to decay. So if they haven't died yet, it hasn't started to decay. So they should have the same amount as the atmosphere. And they don't.
No, I think that they do.
Well,
explain to me why they... Yeah, because it's a marine organism. So again, you're showing incorrect methods of how to use the method. You're saying, I'm going to use the method wrong, and that's my evidence that it doesn't work. It's super dishonest, like you're lying.
You're again, deliberately missing the point. It should work on anything if it's a legitimate ruler to measure things, because the marine...
It was explained to you in detail earlier, Kent.
Yeah, notice that the only example he brings up for something being dated that's still alive is the mollusk shells or the marine animal. When that source, the source of that slide, literally said these are fictitious results. He never talks about a living organism being dated that's not those. It's very telling.
Yeah, what's also telling is you literally said you lied, and he immediately says, well, you're missing the point. It's like, well, are you even going to address the point that you just lied to everybody? Or we're just going to skip that and you're going to go back to how I'm missing the point?
Yeah, like what is the point?
It's just misdirection.
Yeah, what is the point that I'm missing?
Right, and let's address the fact that you just lied. We're
good to continue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, so let's power through, baby.
Marine organisms contain carbon-14. They got it from their diet like we did. And so why shouldn't it be the same? The whole world should have...
Why do you think it should work on anything, no matter how old it is? Is that what you think?
Well, they claim it has limits of 50,000 years, which is where all of it would have decayed, because you go through half to a fourth to an eighth to a 16th to can't make. You're already starting off with a real tiny amount and trying to measure that amount decaying. Okay, that's why they say limits of 50 to 60,000 years. But they do find radioactive carbon-14 in coal, which they claim is 30 million years old. I'm saying
Exactly. It's way outside the dating range. Yeah, because you're using the method outside of its range. Okay.
I don't know how to explain it to you any other way. Okay, I think the audience is seeing clearly how dumb this is. Okay, it should work.
I mean, we're seeing how dumb one of the people on screen is, and it's certainly not AJ.
Yeah.
It's just this is try hard. That's all Kent is. It's just like he's just like you're missing the point. Your roller's wrong, and everyone else can see it. Why can't you? It's just that's when you know you've got him.
Yeah, he's resorting to the insults.
And like, I think maybe Donnie's had a talk with him about being something, because he didn't seem to go as like immediately into just the typical Hovind hostility. He kind of stayed relatively cool in this, more panicking than just trying to be aggressive. I feel like Donnie might have said something to him about it. He might be getting sick of Kent's little childish outbursts.
Well, if he did, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like in the background, Donnie talking with him about it. Maybe a personal thing. I don't know, but I mean, it seems like Kent at least somewhat composed himself. He didn't drop the R bomb, or I think he still hadn't called anything stupid yet. Maybe he has, but I don't know.
He does in a second.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't say it lasts forever.
It doesn't work on coal. Here we go. Slide number 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay, I'll show you again. Here's what they said. That scientists agree that coal, being a fossil fuel, should not contain measurable amounts of C14. Let's see. Some studies reported the small amounts of C14 in coal. In 2003, study found measurable amounts of C14 in 10 coal samples. Okay, measurable amounts. Define measurable amount, Kent. That could be, only a few, atoms still sparking out, which is what you'd expect for something that's that freaking old and the way half-lives work. But,
Yeah, detectable amounts.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything, though. I'm not a guy who studies nuclear reactors for fun,
I'm not a Simon Dan.
Yeah. We're not all Kyle Hill, Kent. Seriously, that dude's pretty cool. You don't know, check his stuff out.
Dollar store tour.
Yeah. See, now I'd just rather be doing like studying Chernobyl again or something than listening to Kent, but we're doing this. We're having fun. And seriously, everyone watching, y'all are awesome. C14 in coal. It shouldn't be there. Let's see. In 2003, researchers at Pennsylvania State University wanted to see if C14 could be detected in the coal. This test might be considered unusual because C14 decays fast and there shouldn't be any. Okay. Yet the coal samples from the strata, allegedly ranging 37 million years to 318 million years, the lab results were clear. All 10 coal samples contain carbon-14 and similar amounts. This seriously undermines the evolutionary date for the rock strata. I just want to point out we got a $4.99 super chat from Rosina. Is this person regular in your streams as well, AJ? AJ, you live? AJ. Oh no, ambush. Did we lose AJ again?
We might have. We need
boy.
to start them back up his way until we can make contact.
Everybody hop in the truck. We're going down to Texas to see AJ. But Rosina here says, ugh, it annoys me so much that Kent refuses to understand uranium decay creates C14. That is a good point. That's a good point.
And we share your frustration.
Everything about Kent is frustrating.
It really is. It's insufferable.
Thank you for the super chat, though.
Oh, good. Oh, you're back, AJ.
Oh, he's back. Cancel the backup.
I got a phone call. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. You're good. Yeah. We just get worried. And your microphone rebelled against you again. You should mail it to Kent and after you're done with it and say, "Here, use this."
I'm wondering how we've already gone an hour and a half.
Sheer force of will.
Doesn't seem like that long.
And shout out, it really doesn't. Shout out to the 24/25 viewers we've got. Just that's good numbers for me, baby. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
It's down to 23. Oh, I want to be depressed now. Big can of depresso. Nah, let's keep going.
And containing the coal. So instead of saying, hey, the method didn't work, why don't you say the coal isn't millions of years old? Has that thought ever crossed your little brain? Could it?
Oh, there he goes. He did the little brain comment. Fuck you, Kent. So a thing about coal, we know it's formed from decaying plant matter back in the what was the particular era that helped form that? The Carboniferous? That was
Yeah,
it?
I actually wanted to talk about this. So,
it was the Carboniferous era, and the reason that coal started to form at that era is because before that, the only type of plant matter that really existed was plants that could grow on sort of a two-dimensional frame, like algae can grow on the surface of water, but there's not much height to it. But in the Carboniferous era, you started to see the evolution of something called vascular plants, and vascular means like, you know, the veins in our bodies. It's the same thing for same concept for how plants draw water up from the soil.
Yeah. So when you think of a plant, you know, any modern, reasonably modern plant, that's exactly what you're thinking of. They're all vascular.
Yeah, and so they could grow with vertical height, and these plants grew in huge numbers, and eventually they would die and they would tip over and you know, be flat on the ground and in huge numbers, and then the soil gets composted, and eventually, you know, geologic sediment is built up over these and compresses them. And this was happening all over the earth, and that's what formed coal, was all those vascular plants.
And so these would be, you know, from before compression, they'd be incredibly thick layers of perpetually buried plant material. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking you know, like, I don't know what the compression ratio is, but you've got a lot of material being crushed down and eventually forming the coal, and under the right conditions, going straight to diamond. So here's a thought though. You've got all that plant matter, so it's going to have a certain volume of C14 in it, but you have it being compressed. You are going to get higher concentrations of C14, I would imagine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
I think the ratios would balance out. So that would also, if this material was, you know, relatively recent, you know, 6,000 years, whatever, you're not going to be able to measure it anyway. So, I mean, you know, decay rates, it's like Kent just throws his own 6,000 years out the water, because it's like, well, the decay rates, I guess, of course, again, he wants to claim decay rates change, but the measurements you would get were you to measure if it was younger than its actual age would be kind of wild. It's like you'd get, you know, rates that's like, whoa, this is higher than it should be, you know, if it was relatively recent material. So I just don't get it where Kent thinks he's going with this, because he kind of breaks his own logic of like, well, this stuff would show, you know, effectively a negative age. You know, I say that facetiously, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, just a thought.
Be that maybe the coal isn't that old, AJ, and maybe they're getting it right.
First off, I have a huge brain. First off, but aren't you the one who said that if you send one sample to 5 different labs, they'll get wildly different results? Why did the coal contain the same amount for all the samples?
I don't know that it did contain the same amount. They said it did have some.
You just said that it had a similar amount for every sample.
Well, it's the same. Maybe it's because the same laboratory testing them. All Penn State University. I don't know.
It's always conspiracy with this guy.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Like, that's a weak one, but I mean, I was all Penn State that tested. Okay, and
find out what it costs, and I'll see if I can afford to. But if it's less than $20, I'll get it. We got coal here. Birmingham's loaded with coal north of us here for 3 hours. We'll get some coal and we'll try that. A blind test. 10 different laboratories.
You're going to carbon? Okay. Well, they already did tests like that for like 20 years, and they didn't find wildly different results. But There have been human remains that have been dated between 280,000 and 350,000 years old. So I'm pretty sure that is your slide talking about human remains being 5,000 years old? Is that supposed to be proof that the Earth is 6,000 years old? Because they found human remains that are older than that.
How do you know they're older than that?
Got another super chat from Rosina. Fun fact, because coal contains so much uranium, coal-fired power plants put out far more radiation in the environment than nuclear power plants. Yes. Just wrap your head around that one.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So.
Yeah. On a side note, I have a bit of a soft spot, obviously liking radioisotopes and the like, for Vaseline glass. The 30s era depression glass that has uranium in it. It's pretty cool stuff, and I got a black light, and it glows like something crazy, and it's beautiful.
That's the glass my webcam is made out of.
Hard. So fun thing, you know the glass concept of crystal, right, AJ?
Yeah.
That's leaded glass. So you think about it, lead is a decay product of uranium. Either way, they're both relatively heavy metals. It's kind of sensible that uranium would be used to make a glass that would be crystal-like, but maybe on the cheap relative. I'm not sure the total details, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I have seen that glass that glows under UV light.
Yeah, you see it at antique stores all the time. It's cool stuff. But that's just a thought. Sorry, we've been an hour and 35 minutes in the stream. I'm having complete ADD moments. And I got double super chats, and I'm just like, wow, I got 2 super chats. That just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. Or is that the heat? Oh, man. I'm glad y'all are enjoying, though. Much love.
Because of the dating method results. How do you know that your slide? Why do you believe the results for your slide when it says 5,000? Is that because you're cherry picking that date, even though you accuse carbon dating scientists of cherry picking dates?
Well,
got them.
Tonight we're talking about, is carbon dating reliable? I'm showing to everybody with half a brain cell working, it is not reliable. We know it doesn't work on some things for sure. It doesn't work on marine organisms. It doesn't work on living organisms. It can be contaminated. We don't know the decay rate's always been the same. We don't know the production rate's always been the same. And you don't know the starting point. If the
Ken Hovind's production rate sure took a turn between like 2007 and 2016. I wonder why.
I still produced 3 kids.
And none of them talked to me. I beat one of them's ass, bragged about it in a seminar, and people wonder why my family hates me. Hovin. Sorry, just who the hell brags about beating the shit out of their kid? Oh, right, Ken Hovind. Oh, man.
Canopy of water overhead, like the Bible says, that would block out UV light, which would prevent C14. So the creatures living under that would be starting in an environment with almost no C14. Whereas we have 0.000765%. We got a lot of C14 compared to them. So we dig up those fossils, which probably all came from the flood, and they're all going to date really old because the starting point was less than it is today. I give some examples. I got way too many slides here. Would you agree that Mary Schweitzer found soft dinosaur tissue and they carbon dated it?
Hold on a second, Kent, because you have no evidence that there was a canopy of water around the Earth. And
I always have to bring this up, that Mary Schweitzer is so sick and tired of creationists using her soft tissue research
to
try to promote their bullshit. Correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, didn't she stop being a young Earth creationist after that discovery? Or as a side effect of her research?
I'm not sure about that.
I thought she was. Again, I'm not sure either. Hence asking. I thought she was, and at this point now, she's just more. I guess I just want to say mainline with her beliefs and stuff.
Yeah, but this is the point that I've been making. Is Kent says that fossils would date old because they're from the flood, and my point is that if you don't think carbon dating works, then how is it that you're trying to use it for your position to say that, oh, well, I found skeletons that date to 5,000 years old. Why do you think it works then?
Yeah.
Or why do you think it works when the dates are what you want, but it doesn't work when the dates don't support your position? That's cherry picking.
Yeah, exactly. And he has a regular track record of doing this, sometimes one right after the other, reject an actual value and but then accept a bullshit value because it works for a 6,000-year Earth. It's crazy. But we're the bad guys for pointing this out. We're the bad guys for making videos about him. But it's okay for Kent to make 15 Simon Dan videos.
Yeah.
Well, we're not
How do
talking
you-
about that tonight. I
You're
did.
the one that brought it up.
I got
Oh, the
historical evidence. Okay, the historical evidence. The Bible says there was. That's historical record. What do you have to say there wasn't? Just you don't like it? Let's stick
No.
on the topic of C14. Why did dinosaur soft tissue have C14 in it?
Because you touch yourself at night. I don't know. We got another super chat from Rosina. Still can't believe Kent accepts that we landed on the moon, but then calls photos and videos fake. That's Hovind for you.
And he said it comes up in this debate. He said that there's no point in going to the moon. I'm like, Kent, I thought you liked science. Like, I would love for us to go back to the moon. I think it would totally be worth it, especially considering that the lunar lander that made it to the moon had a computer that's less powerful than modern smartphones.
Oh yeah. And that's back when they knew how to engineer things. That's also back when the type of memory, the actual proper storage of the computer, was literally hand woven by seamstresses. Did you know that?
And they were all women.
Yeah, core memory. It was a core memory type. Forget the exact details, but yeah, it was hand woven, and it's beautiful stuff. I've seen some of it in person from test computer units when I went to Huntsville, and my God, it's just engineering, and of course extremely inefficient. But when all you need it to do is specific calculations and specific things, and run a very specific program, you don't need a lot of overhead. It's back when we knew how to make things. Now you're lucky you don't fire up Discord and it needs 20 updates for what? New emoji I'm never going to use. Jesus Christ. Just want it to load.
I'm not sure that it did.
Well, here we go. I Googled this question. Has C14 been found in soft tissue of dinosaur bones? Here's the answer the computer gave me. Yes. C14 has been detected in soft tissue of some dinosaur bones. This discovery sparked significant interest and debate within the scientific community regarding the preservation of organic materials over millions of years. See, all they're debating is, how did it survive for millions of years? They're not even considering, maybe it's not millions of years. Duh. They don't.
Maybe because there's no reason to consider that, Kent. But
yeah, I like how Kent just takes the first source he finds and considers it true.
Yeah.
Well, he actually said he Googled it. He didn't name any source, so who knows where it came from?
Yeah.
It's from Institute for Creation Research.
What's the source, Kent? It's Google. No, the source, Kent. What's the source? Google.com.
God damn it.
My computer. The computer gave it to me.
I wish I could. Give me a moment. This is going to be good. It's going to be worth it. You guys chat amongst yourselves while I pull this up.
The computer.
What have we done?
I love Kent's headphones. His oversized headphones.
Yeah,
those headphones are freaking huge. Okay.
For all the gaming he does when everybody goes to sleep.
Okay, I'm gonna change what we're streaming real quick. Just hang on a second. Hold on. I really need to set this up better because this is gonna be funny, but the build up sucks.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right. Here's his source.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Oh, there we go.
What is that from?
Fuck up, Hovind.
What is that from?
Metal Gear Rising.
Metal Gear
Oh,
Rising,
that is Perfect.
I have that game, never fucking played it. I have so many games for like Xbox 360 and stuff that I bought like 10 years ago when I finally got into the system and the like. And it's like, again, tail end of its life. That's just how I do things sometimes. And I never fucking played them. And it's just
It's
like,
a great
damn it.
game.
It's a great series for sure.
Oh yeah, I love Metal Gear.
Yeah. Metal Gear.
Soundtrack is one of the best.
Oh, yeah. Damn it. Now I want to play Metal Gear Solid again because I absolutely love that game.
A surveillance camera. Over.
Dun, 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 Kent Hovind. All right.
Don't even consider that. They know it's millions of years.
Maybe there was contamination in the sample.
There you go.
Maybe there is something.
Are you?
Maybe you're using the method wrong.
Right.
And maybe you're a dumbass, Kent. You ever think about that?
Okay, I can read your mind. You like reacting to Ken Hovind videos.
Are you willing to consider that maybe the dinosaurs are not millions of years old? Is that even a possibility in this argument?
No. Game over.
No, because there's no evidence for that.
Okay.
Sorry,
Best
AJ, I
answer
forgot to just
ever.
say it that way.
Best answer ever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so you've already decided. Your mind is closed. You've already got a world.
Yeah, but you believe that on blind faith. You believe
yeah.
that. You believe that because your book says it. I would prefer there's actually evidence for them being that old.
Well, this is a historical.
Do you have evidence other than the Bible?
No, yes, we have carbon-14 still in dinosaur tissue. That is proof they are not millions of years old. Because it only goes to 60,000, it should all be gone. Goes from a half to a fourth to an eighth to a 16th to immeasurable at some point. All of the authorities agree.
I was waiting for this guy to show up, this Caruso tomato, saying, "Hey, this is getting good." I just love it that I made it into the capture of the stream. I was one of the pinned messages for a moment.
I tried, but they've banned me long ago.
Yeah, for some reason you just have the worst luck with these things, man. I don't understand.
Kent and Standing for Truth. For some reason, I can't chat, but it's okay.
Oh man,
Funny.
Still at some point, I hope you got to call in and just ask ask Kent like you were going to. Why won't he debate?
Can you just unban me?
Yeah,
I'll ask Donnie to unban you.
Oh, that'd be nice. Earlier,
No, I actually like Standing for Truth, and Donnie seems, he seems like a pretty cool dude. There's been some issues, but at the end of the day, he puts on a platform for you, and I respect that. So yeah.
Yeah, he's warming up to me. I'll still, if he shows up in a video with Kent, I will rip into it, but I'm not gonna go after him like I will Matt Powell or anything. I'll let Donnie do his thing because Donnie's benign by comparison.
Yeah, he's providing a platform that I respect. So
yeah,
appreciate it.
It's funny. Earlier in this, I made a joke about it being a certain amount of time since Kent said he would debate me, and even Donnie was like, "Call me and I'll set it up." And I'm thinking, "Nah, dude, it's not how it works." Let me see. I'm just curious, how long has it been? And then we'll get right back to the stream. It has been 3 months, 29 days, and about half a day since Kent told Sergio to set up a debate. So yeah, Seth, whenever you want to, shit, I use your real name. Whenever you want to,
I open every one of my videos with my name. It's all good.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's all right.
By the way, did you get that video recorded yet? Because I didn't see it in my feed.
No, I was going to record it last night, and AJ had the debate, so that was my recording time. But it was bumped back.
Okay. I figured as much. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. But yeah, first off, definitely check Ambush Apostate's channel for more awesome content. And sorry, I'm actually getting food brought to me, so I'm actually going to eat tonight.
Yeah,
no starving for me.
I appreciate it. AJ's gonna bounce.
Yeah, I have to run.
Oh, okay, man. Well, do you want to do a part 2 of this, AJ?
Yeah, I'd probably be down to do that.
Okay. We'll plan that. We'll call 855 Standing for Big Dino and stand and get it scheduled. But yeah, we'll catch you later, AJ.
All right, thanks.
Take it easy, man.
Yep. Okay, it actually seems like this is probably a good point for us to just wrap up, especially since we're coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Right.
Rosina with another super chat. Raise your hands if you're not in a cult. You can't see them, but my hand is raised. Put them in the air.
Both of mine are all the way up.
Wave them like you just don't care. Oh, it's okay if I embarrass myself on YouTube. It's not like it's going to be up on the internet possibly forever. But okay.
Hey, it's been a good time, and it is a good stopping point, I think.
Yeah.
And if he wants to pick it up, because some of the Q&A questions were pretty good, and Kent's responses were pretty cringy. So,
Yep.
I appreciate the invite and the hangout time for sure. But if he wants to get back together and do a part 2, I would be down. And if not, I will surely watch it because there's some more good content in there. But just real quick, I wanted to tell you, I'm sort of a layman with the more sciencey stuff because I'm coming from, my foundation was Kent Hovind.
Yeah.
And so I'm behind the 8 ball on a lot of this stuff, and hearing you guys just casually discuss it and then combining that with, for instance, Simon and Dan and the other, science specific channels, it is impacting people. So if you ever have those times where you're like, oh man, is this even worth it? I'm telling you. So if it's affecting me, I'm sure someone who's going to come across this video at some point, despite it being a comedy and kind of just a free for all, they're going to get something valuable. So I want you to remember that for sure.
I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, it gives me the reminder that this is definitely
it touches real people for sure.
You just think about it, it's comedy, but realize no, I'm actually doing real, honest good out here, hoping that maybe through the comedy people will maybe pick up something or showing that they can relate to me. It's like, oh, this guy loves this stuff and he still, misses the ball on stuff or is doubtful on things. But it's like, I figure it out. I work around and I want to ask the questions and I want to know more. And that's the greatest thing of all, is wanting to know more.
Well, and for me, from coming from one of these high control environments to not being in that now, I have this ability to ask and to learn and to listen to somebody else and just take in the information without this control over me. So for me, we're building, again, a community of people, but also individual knowledge so that we can go out and share that with people we know, and just so that we're more informed. And it's an awesome thing, man. What's going on YouTube right now with, just like you guys were talking about earlier, just these channels that are promoting just facts and evidence and truth.
It's like the new atheism movement. New atheism movement is dead. Welcome to the new atheism movement.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, man, I appreciate the time, and I'm going to jump off here too, and we will catch you in the part 2, hopefully. And everybody in the chat was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yep. See you later. And now it's down to just me to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for watching. I didn't expect us to go nearly 2 hours. I certainly didn't feel like I had the energy, but, when you're having fun, talking with friends, and you've got an awesome community checking in, and watching, it's just some cool stuff, and I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Especially appreciate the super chats. That'll definitely help me improve quality around here. Maybe get a microphone that isn't garbage, but it is what it is. I make do with what I can, but I really do appreciate all of you for watching. Thanks to AJ and Ambush Apostate for coming on. This was a fun time. I'll catch everyone next time.